During this session, we're going to look at potentially the most important thing to be prepared and comfortable with, and it's understanding how such large change goes through predictable stages that you can be aware of and lead your team and organisation through. The work we're going to reference is the brilliant work of Dr. William Bridges, who proposed a transition model that in 3 clear and quite simple steps. The important thing to remember with these 3 steps is they're not as linear as they look on a PowerPoint slide, for example. Each step merges into the other, and the timing of this depends on many facets. One of the facets which you can be accountable for is the leadership of people through these stages. The first stage that Dr. Bridges proposes is the letting go stage. Now, this is a really tough time for everybody, and it requires your leadership and decisiveness to be clear about what are the things that have to stop, the people that may have to move on, and what are the immediate steps of letting go based on the reaction to the event that you've experienced. The tips here are be candid with people. Allow the grieving process and allow people to express the emotion that may come up for them because of this situation. An important part of this letting go phase, and this is important throughout all 3 steps, and I'll mention it again, is communication. In an absence of communication, people as individuals and as a collective just create stuff. And that invites gossip, and gossip, as you know, moves through an organisation like wildfire. So be prepared to communicate and communicate often, especially at this first stage. The second stage of the Dr. Bridges transition model is what he refers to as the neutral zone. Whilst you and your team and the culture are in the neutral zone, it's important to normalise the difficulties that are being experienced. Usually there's increased work and reduced headcount. That's one facet of a rapid and large unforeseen change. So how do you allow and normalise those difficulties? Some leaders get stressed and they go into management mode and they start shutting down people if they hear negativity. Allow the negativity. Negativity in a culture is like negativity in an individual. If it's allowed, it passes. We're not talking about people deliberately trying to interfere with positivity, but it's important that you don't suppress it. And at the right time in the neutral zone, that'll start to die down. Then you can move to using a coaching approach and start asking questions to guide people. You're warming them up for the 3rd stage now. It's a really important time to keep the communication lines open and allow any questions that pop up. If you're not open to hearing the questions, guess where those questions are going to go? So that's the 2nd stage. He refers to it as a neutral zone. How long you spend in there is again not a linear thing. Just be aware that you're allowing people to normalise the difficulties, and then you start at the right time to move towards a coaching approach. The 3rd stage in the Bridges transition model is what he refers to as the new beginning. And this is where you get on the front foot with your purpose and vision for the organisation. Be really explicit about what you believe is possible and empower others with the how that's going to be achieved. Get in dialogue, work with them, be clear and explicit about your strategic approach, but also remain open enough to hear the perspective of others. A really important step here is to celebrate the small wins. Even if there is a situation where the timeframes, there's still so many unknowns, set shorter goals or milestones and allow people to celebrate and feel like there's some progress. Another key facet is to make sure they feel included and make sure that they understand what's expected of their role. This again is a really powerful remedy for what they've been through so far. And when people feel connected and feel like they're included, and obviously in this time, some of your staff aren't together, they're working from home, etc. So it's even more important to be explicit with how you see people contributing to this new beginning. celebrate the wins, and see what's possible. So that's the Bridges transition model. Look him up, get really clear, call if you want more details about that. But it's Dr. William Bridges. I believe he's passed now, so he's not getting to see how we go by dealing with this coronavirus, but it's a wonderful piece of work, and it can be a useful guide for you to know exactly where you're at. And when you know where you're at, others will relax and you can lead.